Hi, Rigsters here, now with Hypps for episode 2 of Factorio tutorial series. On the previous one, we showed you how to do like a very basic setup, and now we have a more automated steel stone furnace line here. There is a problem though with the burner inserters. I forgot to put coal in it, so I wanted to show you a way of automating putting coal into burners and equipment. So you tap the E key here, left click on the coal. So now you have coal on the mouse cursor here. If I were to just left click on one, that would put all the coal into there. So what I want to do is cut this coal in half to spread to the other 4 burner inserters. So I just hold down left control, and then while holding down left control, I have my mouse over the burner inserter, right click once, and then twice, 3 times, 4 times. So now, if I look into the burner inserters, they'll have about like 17 to 20 each. Oh, 24 to be exact. So now, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you don't even have to like individually click each one. This game is really intelligent in this regard. If I hold down left control and then hold down the right mouse button, I can move my mouse across a line of the inserters, like so. So now they have more coal that was split in half from the stack I had available. If you run out of a stack, the game starts pulling from the rest of the coal in your inventory. So I only had enough to really half fill the burner inserters like 1.5 times before I ran out. You can also do this for picking up items as well. I want to get all these steel plates. So what I would do is, instead of right clicking, I hold down left control, left click, and just like left click each box here. That'll take every iron plate they produced up to this point, like so. And then with the same left control, left click, you can also move the mouse straight down in this particular production run. And now I have all the iron plates they just started putting in there. And this one ran out of coal. So there you go. So that's how you can... Yep.
Can I just try something?
Sure, go ahead.
If we try and put a box here with some coal,
right.
See if the inserters will feed themselves.
Oh yeah. That's another.
So it'll feed itself first.
This is how a burner inserter will feed itself.
If we take out the coal out of that one, it'll feed it.
That's right.
Up to 5.
Should do it up to 5. So basically what this burner inserter is doing is it's hand feeding from this chest into this burner inserter here, and in theory it should spread the coal to the other 4.
Let's
like
see
this.
If that'll work.
Yeah, let's test that out. So this is something we haven't tested yet, but I think will be of good use for not just new players, but an idea we can do. It makes sense because they can grab from like a direction like this, like sideways, up, down, left, right.
That doesn't quite work, no.
Oh, doesn't?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
so
it's worth an idea.
You can't grab out of the inserter.
They can't grab out of each other. They only can feed themselves, I see.
Yeah. Or its partner if it's
if it's directly
out of a chest.
connected.
But it can feed that furnace.
Here. Yeah, I can feed the furnace.
Like so.
Right, if it's directly next to each other. About 1 click away. So this is one way you can continuously feed a stone furnace, is you can have a group of burner inserters grab coal and put it into the drill. It's waiting for source items. There we go. Yep, just like so. Sometimes you do have to feed them a little bit of coal for them to work, depending on what you're trying to put the items into, but this is another way of automating production using the burner inserters. You can have like a box down here, have the burner inserter grab here, this will feed itself, put it here, and this will feed itself and put it into the miner drill, at least for that particular one. if you wanted to like further refine this, you could do like more burner inserters working in harmony, slapping more coal into each other, and keep the line moving. That's one way of doing it. So let's grab some stone from this drill, and we'll head over to copper, because copper is going to be used a lot in the early game as well. We also made a little bit of improvements to the coal production. Now over here, prior to filming this episode, I made a mistake here, and Hypps will show and demonstrate what the mistake is for this particular outfit.
Okay, so here you're assuming that it's going to feed coal into the fuel slot of the next machine, as it does here.
Right.
With the coal.
Right, over here.
Yeah, it's feeding coal into the other machine.
Right.
But that's only because it's mining coal.
Oh.
Whereas this one, it's mining copper.
Right.
So it can't really feed copper
into
the other machine. Yeah.
So that's why it won't work.
Yeah. So that's not valid.
Yeah, so what we can do is like with that burner inserter, if we put like a box down here instead, or do that, yeah. We can like put a box here, have like a burner inserter here, and then have like 50 coal inserted there. You can do like something like this to further go along the inserter way. There is, luckily with Factorio, there is many different solutions to a problem. This is not the only one you can do, in particular. Another thing we're trying to do is eventually refine the production line as well for copper plates. And as Hypps is showing here, with the topmost coal, or not coal, I'm so used to saying coal, copper production line, he just put down a belt and is now putting down a stone furnace with a burner inserter. Once you build some belts, which requires only one iron plate and one iron gear wheel, which is very easy to make, and if you run out of iron gear wheels, you can always go to the E key menu, click on intermediate products, and then just either left click or right click iron gear wheels to make some more. Belts are very easy to make, and they are your friends. It almost reminds me of Hardship Spacebreaker, where tethers are your friends. Well, in this game, belts and inserters are your friends. They can be used for a lot of different purposes. This is just a simple example. You just simply put down a transport belt facing to the right, directly to this inserter, which is putting it into the stone furnace. And this burner inserter is grabbing coal from the chest to feed it, whereas the other one is going to put it on the ground, so this burner inserter feeds itself and feeds the stone furnace. So what I can do while he's doing that is put this onto another belt. That way it will start moving copper plates down a belt line. That's another way of doing like a simple production line as well. But we need more coal. So I gotta put down more coal here. So I just left control right click. Like so. There we go. So now we got more copper, I always say copper belts for some reason. Copper plates being produced down here. And now it's just waiting for more belts. So that way it'll keep placing down plates. And the end goal being that doing this setup at the early game without electricity, this is one of the ways you can make your line more efficient prior to unlocking more research, which you'll definitely need to do over time as well. Otherwise, the game can get very multitasking if you don't do that. Alright, so what else can we automate or show here? What do you think we should show next?
Well, this is like just different ways of doing it.
Okay.
There's no correct way.
Right. And
it's just whatever you can come up with. If it works, right?
Exactly, and that's the nice thing about Factorio, as Hypps showed me throughout this game when I was playing it with him too, is that this is just one of different solutions you can do just with the basic burner equipment. Because once you unlock electric stuff, oh boy, it can get even faster yet over time.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to ignore the burner drills. They just skip straight to electric.
Which is possible.
There's a lot of fun things you can actually do with them.
Exactly. And this is
it's
good
like a
for
different
outposts.
Game mechanic.
Yeah, and this is also good for like outposts if you're doing like survival modded games where you have to be very resource heavy. And oh, look at this. It's our stuff we put in the box behind the forest. We found some fish randomly just sitting in this box and a lot of stone too. Yeah, I mean, that definitely came in handy there, Hypps.
It's a Minecraft starter chest, you know.
Yeah, we just happened to randomly come across that. No, but in all seriousness, that was so we could show you the basics without doing the stuff we just drilled out. Because I wanted to show, like, the raw way of doing it so we didn't just have, like, 2,000 resource units and then just plopped everything down. We wanted to show you what it's like when you do a start without trying to do everything off camera, because some of this stuff you do have to do off camera, otherwise this video would take like 2 hours, and I'm sure not everyone wants to watch 2 hours in one video.
Yeah.
That would be kind of silly. I like to keep them nice and short, so this, I think, was there anything else you think we should cover in related to this episode of the tutorial, or do you think we can end it here and do another one?
I guess for beginner players just trying to figure out what's what.
Yeah.
Is the fact that what do you need early game? You need mostly iron, right? Because early game recipes require iron gear wheels and iron plates.
Right, a ton of those.
Yeah. So we could do with scaling this up a little bit.
Yeah, why don't we do that, and then we'll cut it a wrap for this video.
All right.
So let's scale up this factory. So what do you suggest we should do to scale it up?
There's a manual way of doing things as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you explained, you can control click and select select coal and put it into each one of these. But I don't have coal, I have wood, so I'm going to put wood.
Yeah, you can put down
each one of these
for those.
quickly.
Yeah.
And that sort of speeds up the process of waiting for plates to smell.
Exactly. And then what we could do is start a line here with the burner inserters. Whoop, didn't mean to put 2 in one. We don't need that many inserters. Just like do something like that, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not coming back to it for a long time, this would be a great way of harnessing your plates and storing them for later.
Exactly, because that's what you kind of want to do, is figuring out solutions like this. And then what we could do is remove these boxes over here while he's doing that and put down some belts to connect to each other. That is another way of automating the line and having a buffer for future use.
Oh yeah, we can put them in the same chests actually.
Yeah, you could also double feed the boxes too. Wooden boxes can store quite a decent amount to start with, at least for early game automation. Eventually these start reaching a limitation when your factories really grow. Just like the meme most people are aware of when they do discover this game, the factory must grow. Well, this is like a very small example of how the factory must grow. They can get much bigger and more scalable than this. But this is like a decent design you can start off with or try out and refine. I mean, this is not fully optimized yet, but this is like a much better result than the first episode. Because we don't want to like overwhelm you each episode and do like these megaton bases without explaining anything. I think this is a pretty good setup. Do you think there's anything else we should cover on this base part for the steel plates, or? Or what do you think, Hypps?
This is pretty much it for this episode, I think. We've got a substantial amount of plates coming in.
Okay.
Here on the belts, they're actually starting to back up a little bit.
Yeah, so that's one of the things you can encounter in a Factorio a lot is like backups and stoppages like this, and you have to like do either like build stuff bigger, scale it, or refine and improve it with different technologies. That's how Factorio is usually played, at least in standard vanilla. There is mods and stuff that can change the gameplay if I've read and learned as well. But this is how you do it in vanilla Factorio. With a small caveat that we made the resource piles ridiculously big for the purposes of learning and teaching. Oh, and I forgot to mention on the previous episode, you might be wondering why there's no biters. Well, we did on the seed peaceful mode, so there will be combat later on, but we didn't want the biters to come in and blow up our stuff while we're trying to teach and show you the game. That was another thing I should have mentioned on the first one. But I think it's worth mentioning before we get too far along and we never say, like, why aren't there any biters around? But, yep. I think this is a good stopping point for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on expanding these steel plates, learning how to resolve some production stoppages, and why winder drills, you can't always feed into each other if they're on a non-coal resource patch. And also got to see what a brief factory must grow moments are and how this game is so addicting and so cool with its open-endedness. This is Rigsters' Journey and Hypps, signing off.